All right. Good. I don't need to rotate this table too great. Maybe move. No, it shouldn't feel like it's so weird. The spot, I don't know why. Feel the move face down. No, fine. I'm just gonna turn it a little. That way I can also kind of get in there too. I'm going to go all the way around. My dog, like, my dog goes and sneaks into the room in the middle of the night where it's in the guest bedroom where I have like all this stuff. And so I put stuff on the bed and then he goes in there in the middle of the night when we're all sleeping, sneaking in and just rolls on the bed and like tumbles all the sheets around and I'm just like, your hair is everywhere. Especially now because he's shedding stuff. Such a pain to get it all clean. All right. So if you see a stray dog here, that's Stripes. My other two dogs don't actually shed at all, so it's probably just his. Okay. Let's see. So
You wanted some the other day, but we didn't have it.
some of the yellow I had used from the birds one, you know, the birds parakeets that we get in buddies. It was fun. Let's try some. Okay.
What am I glasses
So we have a couple of these, you know, single needle tools up here. I just didn't put them in the bags. Well, maybe I put some of them in there. These ones, if your bag doesn't have a single needle tool, I think what I did is I flipped it inside. So basically, if it's a little hook is on the outside, you might just need to take it out and flip it around to make the single needle tool, which is actually kind of nice to use. And then you also should have, you know, your big one, this one, or this style. And then I also have up here the 3 needle punches if you guys want to use one of those. Okay. So those are up here grabs. Of course, I have needles up here. So if one of them breaks, you guys can just take it out or replace it. You can pretty much keep going even if one breaks, but might want to swap it out. So then, in your,
The ball, what was ours? Here. Yes, one didn't have it.
oh, the styrofoam?
Nope, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Those are homeless chicks.
Okay, well, here is another one too. Does everybody have one?
I'll just hang them there. Here, this one don't have balls.
Here. Did she have
Yeah, I
one?
got one. I got one.
All right. Oh, okay, good. Oh gosh, I must have left some of them. Okay. And then everybody has a little like handout instruction kind of sheet here, which I found to be pretty useful. And then up here, we also have for later for cleaning up the stuff. I'll pass these around, the little scissors and I actually got some of these awls from my bookmaking stuff. So to punch the eyes in, you know, you can do that if you guys want to use that eye. Or you can use, you know, just a little bit of color for the eye. So it does not have to be the plastic. Okay. If you did get a little baggie, you might have a small baggie in there, or I could have just tossed them in there this time of the eyes. Okay. There are some that are hard to see. There are some that are plastic eyes in there, and then these are the new ones that I got. I tried to finish what I had.
The odds, yeah, there's odds in this one.
Yeah. So
And,
I have them all up here. I don't think I went back and like
Dodging now.
refilled them. So my apologies if it's all mixed up. I got some of the stuff at different times. Okay. So we do have these eyes. These are, I guess, more like glass eyes. So I think they're just a little nicer. and also a little bit easier to insert because they're a little metal tip. So, just kind of going over everything that you have in your kit here, okay? You should have 2 eyes for the hen, right? And then also 2 little baby eyes for each chick, which are in here, okay? So just kind of going over, so if you're missing something, I can hand it out to you and just kind of see what you need. But, yeah, just look through your kit, and as we go through, I'll explain what we need, okay? All right, so everybody has this little handout in front of them. Hello. Okay. So we have your different colors of felt. This one actually doesn't require that many colors. Out here, I could have sworn I put them all in there with that bird. You have your color of the actual the chicken, the hen, sorry, the mom. And so if you want a slightly different color, there's some up here. This one's like the same, a little bit more creamy color. This is kind of more whitish, but they're all just kind of like a variation of like an off-white. And then also some of the yellow for the chicks are a little bit softer yellow, and then some is more like a bright yellow, okay? So if you want to swap it out for a different one, that's fine, okay? So you can just kind of line up your colors on the side there. You should have a little tuft of red, and I think there are 2 different kinds of red. This one's a little bit more warm, softer, a little bit of orange for the beaks, and also a tiny little wisp of pink. You really are not going to need very much of this at all, like just even a fraction of this, okay? And then your eyes, like I said, are in there, so we'll figure those out at the very end. I'll just pass out if needed, okay? And then you should have your little styrofoam block to work on, okay? I actually got a nice one. Finally got one. Little cushion. Figured it'd be easier to see too. I think this was like a few bucks on Temu also. If you guys are interested, but it's just like it's just felt on the outside, and I think it's a little sponge in there. Okay. So I think that'll get us going. Everything is set up and ready to go. Okay. So if we look at the instructions, I thought there'd be more people, or else I would have made these bigger, full size. We're gonna just kind of follow the steps. They kind of just go across. So you'll see in the middle we have a styrofoam ball, and then this is just to kind of show you the shape of everything in profile. Okay. And so we'll go through each one, and then we have the different steps at the end. Very simple. Okay. This is just kind of a variation on the design. So if you want to make it look a little bit less like ball shaped, you know, like you want it to be a little bit longer neck, or, you know, more noticeable tail, you guys can take a look at that one. Okay. So just side view kind of the shapes of the head and the tail. Okay. But yeah, I saw this one on, I think somebody was making these kits on Etsy. So I think they were selling the kit to purchase. And so I thought it was super cute. So I figured I would make you guys one. So I actually forgot to bring the sample that I made. So I am so useless today for getting everything. But we'll make another one. So it's no big deal. All right. So we're going to start with your styrofoam ball. Okay. And we're really just going to just kind of wrap it lightly with the felt. So you're going to just need a little, is anybody else first time? I think your first time? Okay. So you're just going to take a little piece, and remember that this, I'm here. Okay, that's right. This separates a little bit easier the more gentle you pull it. So just kind of gently separate it, and go ahead and get one of these kits that are on the table right there. Yeah, it's okay. You can get, we're barely just starting, so you're fine. Okay. This is also a good time to check if you have any, just slight variation in color, but most of it. Just to check if there's any, like, again, dog hair, random bits of another color. Sometimes I pull it from another kit, and so you know, the colors separate and they spread around. So we're just going to wrap it lightly and just press gently into the ball. This is good for this, and also this one. Okay. Just make sure your handle's on there nice and tight, or else it's not going to work. And last time this styrofoam ball got a little bit smushed. So I'm not sure what the issue was. I had actually tried the same ball when I made the sample for this one and I didn't have any problems with it.
Real mushy.
So I don't know if it's maybe just like over pressing it in too deep or, but I don't know, it didn't really have any issues. So I would just say or recommend to just press into the styrofoam ball and I'm going about a half an inch in. We're really just kind of tacking the felt onto the surface. And then as we build up the layers, then you don't have to go as deep because it's kind of tacking it into the felt that's already there. Okay. So for the start, just kind of evenly distribute it as you go around. Okay. A little bit more already. Might as well. Here. So a very thin layer, I'm just using like, a little handful. Don't have to be super thick to start off. We're just trying to get a good layer going. So I'm gonna wrap around what I just did. And again, the styrofoam ball is not really traditionally used with this, but it does save a lot of time when you're doing class. So if you are going to do needle felting in the future, it does take a lot of time to make a styrofoam ball out of felt. And so you can buy pre-made felt balls that can work for this. I've used dryer balls. And those are good, but they're just kind of all one size. Okay. You can also buy those pre-made little felt balls like in a craft store. Sometimes they're on like decorations. If you order them online, you can buy them, but they usually come in very small sizes. So just
Garlands after Christmas are good too.
Yeah.
I found those on sale.
Oh yeah, those are great. And they even had some for St. Patrick's Day. Actually, a bunch of green ones.
Yeah.
And I was gonna get them, but they were still like 40% off. And then when I came back, they were like, it's like, all right, fine.
Something that had big. They were
Yeah.
Christmas.
I mean, you can buy them if you just kind of gonna do it a lot. Like I think I got a bag of like 50 for like, I think like 20 bucks. So kind of expensive to buy them just directly, but it does save a lot of time.
Yeah, I got mine at 90% off.
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby, it was one hanging there.
Right. Yeah, you can get lucky other ways. Especially like obscure colors, like Halloween colors or whatever. Oops. Okay. So I would say normally just to make a felt ball and really make it dense enough for it to hold. I would say you sit there about an hour making the ball, like just felting it together so it's dense enough, because the issue is that not only do you need to have it the shape of a ball and the size, but also the density. So it kind of holds firm, because then you don't want to have it mush up on you and feel squishy. Okay. I remember the first time I did a needle felting, after I put it all together, I would pick it up and it felt like a cotton ball. So a cotton ball was not the consistency we're looking for. We're looking for something a little bit more firm. Doesn't have to be super firm. Some people prefer it a little softer, but that's just a personal preference. But generally, it should not be smushy like a stuffed animal.
No, the more it's handled, the more it will come up. Now, if you're just going to use it for a decoration,
Yeah.
like on a Christmas tree or something, you don't have to quite get it as hard, but they make teddy bears to play with out of it. So you gotta make it hard.
Yeah. Adding layers. So wool is naturally kind of dirt repellent, but that's if it's kind of tight. So when we're done felting it, it'll be kind of easy to maintain and kind of keep clean, because it just doesn't really get very dirty. All right. Have a little fluff in here. Shut it out here. It's something else. All right. I'm just trying to fill in any gaps. rolling this around here. So for this base layer, I don't, you can be more thorough, but I usually kind of keep it more loose because I know I'm going to add other sections. So I'm going to keep felting on certain spots. And then once I have those on, then I can kind of go back into it. But just trying to get it all kind of even.
Let's try something different.
Tell about your dogs, what kind do you have?
Oh, 2 black labs. The big one, the Cheddar, is 90 pounds. So imagine his zoomies tearing through the house. And then they get, we came back from Ohio, we went up to see the eclipse, right? So he was running around, they both burned themselves out, but lucky our youngest, he's about 2 now. He was like up and about the next day like nothing, right? Charlie was the one that was like passed out all day. And then again, 3 in the morning, he'll get up and he's like, okay, I'm awake now, let's play. So then I hear them in the middle of the night last night in our backyard barking and I'm like, oh crap, it's like 3 in the morning. So they were just, they loved it though. The eclipse was beautiful. I know over here it wasn't very visible. Yeah, it was really nice. Oh man, I'm so glad. Oh, I would say if you can, once in your lifetime to go see it,
Walk around the neighborhood.
unlike any other thing that you will ever see.
I saw the one here in 2017, and it was like 93% or something.
Oh, really?
That was the most of a totality I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was nice.
Yeah.
You can tell that, when the, sun started getting dimmer and
Right.
the birds stopped singing and the
Yeah,
crickets
kinda
started
eerie,
chirping.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't see this one because it's cloudy and raining.
Yeah, they didn't notice any of the birds that just kept singing.
It's cloudy and rainy, it
Yeah.
went dark at my house all day. No, they did stop at my house. I guess it was just how dense those clouds were.
Right.
And I had all the lights off in the house, hoping the sun would break through some clouds. And it
Yeah.
got dark and got colder. And we had bird feeders up in there for about several minutes, heard nothing. And then, and I guess it moved just a teeny bit, one of them got brave and started again.
I said, what's going on?
Yeah. Who's messing with us? But if I hadn't had all the lights off and had the door open, I don't think I would have noticed it so strong. Because it was, like you said, it was overcast. It was
Yeah, I went out on my back porch, got, for a little while, it was like, noticed it. I just got a little darker, but not much.
Valerie, who teaches the class in here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, her son was up in Ohio, so we got hooked up.
Yeah, that's
And he
where we went.
FaceTimed her right when it was getting ready to happen. So they think she got to see it via FaceTime. She said. Oh, so you went to Ohio?
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of knew from last time the landscape that would be ideal for it, so we got a hotel just for the night, for Sunday night, and then I picked out a park where it had a little bit of high elevation. And so from above, if you ever do it again, if you're a little bit higher, you can see when it gets dark that the sunset is completely 360 around you. So it has this pink glow.
Did you go to?
We went to this small random
What city?
Oh, we were in, I guess the closest big city is Dayton.
Okay, yeah.
And then another small town really close to us is Oxford. So, it was just some kind of random park where just the locals, I guess, kind of went to it. There was maybe like 10 people in the parking lot, so it was really nice. And they had a big open field for our dogs to run around, which was perfect, so they were happy.
Forgot about your dog right here today. How about snails and they have real fluffy hair. And so when I trimmed them, that stuff, I fixed their hair and I made me an ornament with their hair.
Oh,
Because
really?
it's almost like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Women's hair is like this, and I thought, I did a little paw print, and I used their hair in the.
Yeah,
I
definitely
did
like
one
her.
for my girl, she's gray, and then the little boy is black, so I did.
Oh, I haven't thought about that actually. I just finished murmurating my dog, taking off
Yeah.
the coat. And I threw it all away, but now I'm like, okay, wait, where is he?
Yeah, they take the makeup like birds.
Yeah, that's what I
I do one.
thought too. Okay, how are we doing on the ball? We're still having at it. I'm just gonna, you guys can keep working on this, but I'm just gonna show you if you are ready or when you are ready, okay? I kind of like to make little separate chunks. Also, I think that would help because you're not pressing into the ball itself as much. So what I started doing was just kind of making a little oval, and this is gonna be at the top of the head. So, if we kind of see this part right here, it kind of has like a little bump, okay? So you can imagine kind of we're gonna add a little bit of height on the head. And then at this point too, if you wanted to make it a little bit taller, you could. I think I'm gonna actually try to do this shape a little bit more because the other one I made looks like this one. So I just started kind of folding the wool in on itself and, make it kind of this like, that's kind of a little awkward here. And then I just kind of rolled up some more and just kind of stack that or wrap that around. You can even go on the top or bottom. And so you kind of want to start with a core that's already a little bit dense, because then when you the needle hooks onto the felt and kind of buries it in there, if it's too soft on the inside, it's not really going to have imagine like the felt is getting stuck into the wool, right? If the fibers on the bottom are kind of loose, then it's not going to tack on there, right? But if the fibers on the inside are a little bit tighter and already felted, then it's actually going to hook onto something in there. Okay. So that's why I'm kind of saying start with this smaller one, get it a little bit denser first. Right. And for this, I'm just kind of tapping it a little. You don't have to go all the way. Okay, get that a little dense, and then when you add the other one, it should be easier to tack it on there, and it should be a little bit more firm. And I'm just making kind of like an oval disc shape, circular shape, doesn't really matter. I do have those finger protectors, maybe not in all the bags, but if you need one, I have some up here. Okay. Probably should wear one. I bought some silicone ones, and of course that's about those too. So I don't know why. I prepared all this stuff. I think I prepared this like 3 weeks ago, and I thought of everything, right? And then now, like the day of, and I'm like, where is this? Where is that? I don't know how I taught for so long, at a high school. I'm so organized. What happened? Yeah, I think these are kind of in the way usually, and so I got those little silicone ones because I saw somebody at Hobby Lobby wearing them, somebody that worked there, and they had little fingertips, little silicone covers on them, and I got some from Temu also. And so I tried them on. They were a little too big, but I think if I get the right size, it would actually kind of work because it's not as bulky as this, and the silicone is strong enough to protect your fingers. I don't like this because I feel like I can't see where my finger is. It's kind of weird. Okay. If you've never felted a disc, right, you just want to make sure you flip it over and over so that the fibers don't get stuck on your styrofoam. Okay. If you are using this regular styrofoam, eventually this is going to degrade because of so many little punctures. And so you might start to get little pieces of little styrofoam maybe falling or flaking off here. So that's why it's kind of better to buy the one that they sell at Hobby Lobby. It's like a coarser styrofoam. This is just like insulation foam that I had a bunch of. So, you know, if you notice that, you just flip it over to the backside if it's a newer one, or we can just use a different one, okay? But eventually, you know, these get so beat up that I just throw them away. So, if you're just kind of old, you can switch it over. Okay. Or, you know, one of these little felt things. Kind of nice. Like you're in the trench. Or something there. I don't know why that feels satisfying. Okay. But yeah, either way, you know, you're pressing it into the fibers, you're pressing it into the styrofoam, so it's gonna want to get caught in there. So just kind of make sure you're flipping it over as you go. All right. So I have the head. A little bit. While you guys are going, I'm gonna add a little bit on make it a little bit taller, like your second one. Very good. Wait.
Yeah. Again, these real fancy chicken coops, every night, just think of my grandmother, one side, my grandfather. Roll it over in our grave. Why are these crazy people having these fancy chicken coops? What chicken coops? You got a fancy chicken coop?
No, my chicken, my full-size chickens stay in a barn where I go. And my phantoms are in a little enclosure thing. My pigeons are in an aviary and my peacocks are in an aviary.
Oh,
And I
wow.
don't have a little chicken coop or a thing.
I had a cousin who called. Still doing it. How far are we be?
This,
Yeah.
it really does depend on how tall you want the head, right?
No.
So if you kind of want it to look a little bit like a little ball, you know, then you probably just want to make like a low bump. You want the head to be a little bit taller, which is kind of what I'm going for a little bit. I just kind of made it a little bit thicker, and then when I actually attach it, I'll kind of bulk it up a little bit.
I have.
So it's really up to you on that. That's why I'm giving you guys time to build it up. But I'll start attaching this one just so you can kind of see. Yeah, so like right now, I'm yeah, and like I said, it's up to you guys. If we think about it this way, like in terms of like finger widths, mine's about 3 fingers wide, you know, at the middle. And then about, I don't know, a finger or a thumb, depending on how wide your fingers are. The thickness about a finger width. Okay. I would say that's a good amount. Just so it kind of looks like the head is kind of popping up a little bit at least. Okay. And then again, more if you want it to be a little bit tall. Okay. And it really doesn't matter where you stick it at this point because, you know, the ball. So I'm just going to attach it right here. And I'm just going to go with my single needle tool and just kind of go all the way around. Stick it down. Back it down. And if it has any of this like separation right here, because it looks like you just like put it on top. You know, we can go over it with a little bit of more wool as like a thin layer, so it just kind of covers up that edge a little bit. It's not so noticeable. All right. I'm just gonna pop the head on anywhere. Kind of how it is right here. This is the edge. That's the head. It's very loose right now, so you can see it's almost about to pop off. So I'm gonna get a little strip of this and just kind of like help to hide that edge. Bigger. And you guys have plenty of time. You guys know that like plenty of time in here. Usually we go about an hour and a half. Make something, usually takes at least an hour, hour and a half. And then you know, usually I stay extra, like another 30 minutes just to hang out and finish up and whatever. So, plenty of time. All right. So when you kind of add the extra, it'll kind of help to smooth it out and hide that edge. If you haven't used the different needles, I would recommend trying to use them. I can do a whole project just with this 3-prong one because it's so easy. So, you know, try it out if you haven't tried it before, so you can kind of find what your preference is. Yeah, definitely keep some Band-Aids handy. This. Another thing I noticed when I was working on the other one and the figuring out what might collapse the ball a little bit on the inside was like, if you're going into the ball at the same direction, you know, then the same direction, then it's gonna kind of mush up that same section. And so then when you go in the other side, it's gonna kind of collapse. So I would just suggest, you know, maybe going into it all from one, like as if your direction is facing the very middle of that ball. Oh, go to you. Good. Oh, okay. I have this.
Y'all did a good job.
All right, where was I? Oh, yeah. So we'll stay on this part a little while, you know, just because it takes some time to build this up. No rush. let me know if you guys need any help with anything, okay? Happy to. Actually, while you guys are doing that, can you guys just let me know if you need anything? I'm gonna just pass out some of the stuff that I know that you need. The small one, so that might be a little easier. And does yours have an eyes?
I found some.
Okay. Do you have eyes in yours? Yeah. Eyes, okay.
She does.
Eyes, okay.
There.
Okay. And then does your bag have the eyes in it?
No,
Oh, black side.
this is my bag. This bag didn't have much.
Okay. There's a single needle. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is mine. This is mine.
Oh, okay. So we have. This one's one. Oh, I think you have. This is the all. I have. Oh.
I may need more too.
This is the all to poke the eye in, and these are just little scissors for some trimming. So just to show this one up here. Okay. What else? Hmm, just to show you guys the different colors. Okay. This is a brighter yellow, more brighter yellow with the chicks. This is the softer yellow. This one has kind of like a golden yellow, although it doesn't look like it's that much, but remember you can always blend the colors together.
I would like to have the lighter, yeah.
So that's. Yeah, and any extra felt that you have, just, put it aside, we'll collect all the little pieces at the end. Okay. So I did get an update about the, classes for May. I guess they, normally we have a grant to do the Zoom classes and, all the classes that are Zoomed are, paid for by the grant. So I guess, in May and June, they don't have that going. So all the classes are gonna be regular where you just pay for the class and the kit. So it's gonna be just for the pottery kids that are in the office. If you guys have seen them, they're gonna be 15, for,
What do you make it that thing out of potters? What do you make it out of potters? Is it more like that?
oh, did you see the office, the ones in the office? Oh, yeah, you can go in there and take a look. They're like little kids that like are kind of garden, decoration and then with little flowers on the top, so. Usually they cover the cost of the materials too, so. It's like, it's almost half and half, right? Half of the kit and half of the class, so. You guys can, check on that when that comes out. And then, in May, we also have a painting class scheduled, which is I haven't confirmed with her how much that's gonna be, but that's, I should have brought it too. It's a painting of, what are they called? Lightning bugs.
Oh.
I figured I wanted to do something kind of Tennessee, related, but I didn't want like a big old Tennessee flag. So or, you know, the orange one, not the actual state flag. So I was like, well, what else is like Tennessee? So, and summer, right? Because summer's coming up. Oh, maybe I can show you guys on my. Maybe I'll come by, and get back and drop off painting so you guys can see it. And then there's also in the front office these little like peg dolls that kind of look like little tiny sprouts. So if you guys want to do those, yeah. But all the classes that somewhere between $10 to $15, just depending on how much the kits are. See, and then hopefully we'll get that grant back and going because that's kind of nice. Let's see if I can find a picture. Okay. Pop it so you can see my smoothie in it.
What do you do with your tail? How you figure that wouldn't work on tail, yeah. Oh, you're just working. I haven't had that one.
Okay, you kind of see it on here a little bit.
Oh,
Oh, that's pretty.
A little hard to see with the lighting, but
You do step by step, on the, I've never really painted.
yeah, step by step. So everything is provided with a kit. Okay, I don't know why it's not working, but there we go. Turn this down. And I think we just have to let it focus a little bit. But yeah, something like that. You guys get the idea. So it's kind of like, looks like it's glowing. And then also I thought about, if you guys wanted to have it optional where like you could put a little bit of glow in the dark paint on top of it after it.
That would be cute.
And then, you can put it somewhere, and have that. So I thought that was cool. Something cool. Here's the top of mine. Okay, so now it kind of looks like has a head. Or, it could be the tail if you wanted to switch it around, right? If you didn't like how that came out, you can kind of build it up and keep going and make it the tail. Okay, but this is gonna be the head for mine. And then now I'm just gonna work on the tail. And so, like I said, I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more like sticking out just so it's more noticeable. So I'm gonna just start building that shape, kind of make it look more, I guess like triangular, but still kind of oblong. An oblongish triangle, if that's even a shape. So basically kind of like triangular like this. And then, that's gonna kind of go up here. Yeah, I thought about bringing in like different colors, like different kinds of browns and stuff, but I figured it would be really hard to like keep all the pelts separate, so decided to make it easy. Maybe color. Right? I know. Unless it's like, like the rabbits, I kind of had so many different colors of felt that I figured it might as well just try to use them all. So that was more open. You guys did that one. Okay. So when I'm building it, you may have noticed that I just kind of made a big shape and then I kind of grabbed the edges and folded them in on themselves. So that way it kind of gets denser right off the bat. So kind of just bring it in and kind of like move them in. And then if it gets too small that way, then I can just add a little bit more.
I put a little bow around his neck, he looked a lot better.
Oh. Yeah, I have a whole collection now of all the stuff I've been doing in all the classes that I'm like, okay, where am I gonna put this stuff? And then I had my dog, my other dog, Lucky, who loves stuffed animals. He got into my painting stuff and he pulled out a little owl that I had made in one of the classes. And you know, next thing I know, I'm like walking into my kitchen and then there's like little owl feathers,
Well-
owl eyes all over the place.
My owl
Blew
did
the
that.
coop.
Oh, really?
I believe my cat took it.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, well, I'll find it when I clean up. No, that owl is gone. And it was so cute.
When I did the rabbit, I had my stuff in a basket and I put it in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my closet door was open and I was in the kitchen or living room one day, here she comes with it in her mouth. So she didn't hear that, but she had found it.
Yeah.
I heard that it's bad if they ingest it, that it can cause blockages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just because depending on how dense it is, right?
Right.
Luckily, he's the type to tear things apart and just spread them all over the house and backyard.
Doesn't eat it.
No, he doesn't
It's
eat it.
into attacking, not into digest.
All right, so I think I put my tail on too loose, so I'm gonna move it. Okay, kind of just want it like coming up just a little.
Somebody on one of the Facebook groups, Needle Fountain, and they said this is the third time, because my cat has got a hold of it, tore it apart twice. This is my third time working.
Oh,
Weird.
Well, I could see where a cat would really think, hey, you just brought me a new toy. It's
I
a
had on
I
my.
know Charlie, my Charlie. He
Oh,
wants to get a hold of my school when I'm doing, I said, no, that's common.
And we always give him little toys, even the smallest ones he loves, right? Even tiny little small dog toys he loves. So I get why it would be tempting and why he would think it's his, but
I always tell people don't, because we've had dogs, showed them at one point too. Don't buy a dog bed made out of something that you give your dog to chew on.
oh,
Yeah.
Because it's like, wow,
A
this
giant
is a
treat.
really big chew toy. Thank you very much. And then you're fussing at them for chewing it. Because they're chewing them.
I don't scare them around, but they don't tear them up. That's good. You know, they've never chewed on shoes or anything, everybody's like, oh, they'll eat your flip flops up, no, never
My
even do.
doesn't either.
Never mind,
She
fine.
loves yarn.
Oh, really?
She got a skein of yarn one day, and I just went to the mailbox and came right back.
It didn't take long.
No, she had that, and it took me 3 days to get it undone.
Oh, God.
She had it spread all over the house.
okay, so there's my tail. It's kind of like looks chunky and separate, so I actually need more folds. We're gonna try to find a color that matches. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, then you can, you match it. And then add to it around.
Okay.
I didn't think so.
So,
Go ahead. Oh,
find one here.
Yeah. Is this the same color?
Been wrong.
I had to go get that one, but I'm not gonna have my wings.
You don't need this one. I think this has to go on check. So I had to hold that one. Okay. Well, I would have red people because it matters so much if I grab some.
Yeah, they take the smallest slice you have.
Right? It's kind of nice.
You know, they usually call, they didn't call. I didn't get a phone call yesterday.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I guess it just depends, you know, on how much time they have to call people or whatever, but.
Mainly, it's
Kinda
just a
nice.
recording. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
says, they're not,
Yeah, okay.
you know.
Yeah, but I didn't get it yesterday. I usually get it. It's not unreal.
So you can always, you know, go, we're talking about different colors of the felt. Once you have your base kind of made, right, you can always go in, like if you wanted to add the wings of a different color, you know, change it up and add some little details. You can always just kind of tack those on later. Or if like you run out of one color and you can't find a match, you know, you can always cover it with a layer of another color and it works pretty well. Just cover it up. So I think this color, some of this is just the roving, which is just like the basic wool that you would use to start with, so. But honestly, the difference between regular wool and the roving, which should be generally a little coarser, is like hardly noticeable, so I just use it as regular wool.
Discoveries while I was still working. Then again, I probably was finding so hard I would have had it. Did you work? I worked for, it ended up being Valley Health, but I started there, I was in Valley Community Hospital. I was in middle management when I left. Where's support services? Print mail services. We hadn't been in the building in decades.
I worked at Bessie Ford. I worked 41 and a half years at the hospital. I'm 38 and a half as a month. And that's the valley, area, and then I retired. But I'm out of here. I didn't work the valley. Well, I now, getting was good. My daughter's still there. She's been there for 2 years. You know, it goes around. So you gotta work in the hospital, you gotta work. So you work me on the bill?
I worked.
And you were.
No, Martha was gang all the time. I had the print shop. I was in
Oh, you were
for years and years and years.
Yeah, okay.
And then, the guy that worked with me retired. I think that was Lawrence on. He was old. And the next thing I know, I finally agreed to kind of do this, and the next thing I know, there's a, oh, by the way, we're gonna give you the mail department too. And I thought, well, I know nothing about that. Oh, Judy was still there. Judy still. But, Martha, she's there forever. Yeah, she. I always used to say that probably pull around and find her, you know, I hate to say it, dead in the building, and in a weird way, it almost did work out that way. She was, they kept her on the payroll, but she was really ill, and really couldn't hardly even come in, or it was kind of sad, it really was. But they're about 45 years. Yes, she wanted to make the 50, and I think they did let her do that, ultimately, yeah. But, she was in a wheelchair. I mean, she was, working, or able to work, or anything like that. Well,
Just another suggestion here that I figured out recently. To avoid going into the styrofoam ball, okay? Like say I want to shape this kale a little bit more, like it's kind of like loose and fluffy, right? So I added some more. So instead of going into the styrofoam ball, I already kind of have a little base in there, right? Like a little kale. And so instead of sticking it into the ball and again, making more holes and piercing it, you can just kind of go horizontally, kind of like it's like a tangent to the ball, and just kind of like press into the actual like kale itself or some other part that doesn't have the styrofoam. As long as that section that you're pressing into is like somewhat firm, it doesn't have to be super hard, it'll hold the felt and it'll actually kind of help you shape the tail. So mine's kind of like big and round right now. So the more I'm doing this, the more I'm kind of tucking in the sides and helping to shape the tail.
I was a clinical educator. I was educated, right?
They threw me out the building. To a warehouse downtown. That's done like kindergarten. And it's like 36. I hadn't been inside the main building yet. Just decades ago. And now they've bought the warehouse and just rented it out. And now they've bought one. And, so they do know they have a permanent home. They've been able to locate us in there.
So you just retired.
And locate our store in warehouse.
How many?
About 43 and a half. And I had somebody say, don't you want to stay for 45? No, I don't want another ceramic thing that says. But
I was glad I retired.
like I said, I had been there since I was a teenager.
I started in the '60s.
Well, right now, I'll take that back. Oh, 1980, I finally got my. Yeah, it was like 1980.
I started in past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was the foreman of the job. I remember him. First mentioned that they had found those artifacts.
Yeah.
And they were going like, oh, golly, how long will we be shut down? Yeah, because they found them. And that's my friend.
Okay. Oh, that tail. That tail takes some finessing. It's kind of getting there. It feels a little firm. You guys are, I think you guys are also doing the tail and the head, right? Okay, that's, everything else is
I
very,
think I have a different
Are you gonna do
species
the
of
wings?
bird.
Are you gonna do the wings?
actually, the wings on the original, it was just like a little, if you guys look at the sample. Yeah, like you can just kind of needle felt it in, okay, but if you want to do it like an actual little wing, stick it on, kind of how we did the budgies.
Yeah.
You can do that. Either way, it's just how subtle or how defined you want. Okay. All right, let me work on the head. Tail is decent. I'm gonna put some of this lighter color. I think it's slightly lighter. It's on the head.
Yeah. So he started out working.
Would you guys be interested at all in, because I, you know, I have so many different needle felting projects and kits that I've made. Would anybody be interested in purchasing pre-made kits with instructions if I made them? So I'm thinking if people want to do more and there isn't a class or something, I don't know,
They don't
just
want
throwing
to-
it out there, I
They
guess.
don't want to do all that startup. If you had your kid, then they would maybe have you do is startup of buying so much of something that.
Right,
something that-
exactly. If I want to just try it for the first time or something.
I just sort of guess.
That's what I was thinking, because, you know, for somebody who doesn't even know if they would like it, right? Like, or just somebody who doesn't want to preventative felt and doesn't want to worry about ordering all the colors again, you know?
I'm not finished.
Just,
Oh.
not thinking out loud here. Or maybe I can make kits of the ones we've done before, and then if you guys wanna try those, if you haven't, if you didn't take that class, cause I probably won't be offering those again, right? If you missed the class or something and you want the stuff for it, I don't know. That'd be an option. Okay, so at this point, when I'm shaping, I'm just going and kind of like I was saying, going into, not directly into the ball, but kind of along the surface, kind of inserting the felt in. And I found that actually that helps to shape it a little bit more and actually goes faster because you're not pressing so much. And it also helps to smooth it out. So sometimes you can kind of like run the needle across the surface like this, smooth it out a little, and then kind of tuck it in. So it helps to kind of keep it an even surface. Stray hairs all over the place. But it just takes time. And like I said, if you guys said before, if you guys are interested in a certain kind of project or a certain animal or something, try it. We don't have anything really scheduled. I just kind of found this design because I liked it. So I figured my mom would like a chicken. So I figured I would make chickens. Make a little nest for it later or something. I did see one project that I thought was really cool, but I thought it was kind of hard for this, for a beginning class. What do you guys think? Where's my Pinterest? So many ideas on Pinterest. Okay, so this is a little picture, as you can see, of the peg doll. This is the design I was looking at to do it. So there's one in the office. It doesn't quite have so much embroidery on the sample I made, just because.
What is that made out of?
This is made out of felt, but like, the regular craft felt, so polyester stuff, not needle cloth, although you could probably make it out of it somehow, right? But that's a sample that I was looking at for the peg doll class. And then there was another one that kind of comes in this little, I have the little terracotta pots already. And so it's a little peg doll, and then you can put a little leaf or a flower or whatever on top. And then the little terracotta pot, and you can put some little brown felt for the soil. So those are some samples in the office, if you guys want to see them. And then I just thought they were so cute. And I had actually made peg doll figurines for my wedding cake. And so, oh, this is a cool chicken. Look at the shape of that neck. And look at the little tiny wing. It's just like little tail. This is so cute. It's a little cartoon. Okay, so this is the one that I was like, wow, this is amazing, but this is gonna look really hard. Okay, well, here's a small sample, but see how it's in a teacup? And it's like a little scene in a teacup, right? I mean, obviously you'd have to get pretty small. This is
People use those for their eagles.
Yeah.
oh, I see. I had.
I seen the one that had like an open scene, or
Yeah,
had like a lighthouse sticking up out of it.
I thought this was so elaborate, like this is insane.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
It's like a little village
Wow.
in there. But yeah, I mean, I think if we did something like that for this class, it could be something simpler, like this one's just has some little mushrooms in it, so that's kind of cute. Oh yeah, this is a lighthouse. Oh my gosh, this was, I haven't seen this one
Yeah, I
before.
love
Cool.
that.
That was amazing. It's in a bowl actually, but I like the idea of it being in some kind of cup. Oh, this looks like Italy or something with the little houses and the little. Well, I mean, I think I think for that one, if I did want to do something more geometric like a house, I would probably use like little layers of the craft felt kind of stacked up, so you kind of have a firm square, I guess, to start off with. So I don't know, I'll probably think about how to
We
approach
had
it.
a 2 month class working on the base first,
Oh,
and
yeah,
making the little house or lighthouse or
right,
whatever.
right. Yeah, because that would take a long time, right? So usually I try to keep it a, hour and a half class, but, yeah, if people were interested in doing like a couple part, or maybe like one week, the same day and time days, right? Like one Monday and then the following Monday to finish it or something. So that'd be an option. Okay. Third. Oh, I'm gonna turn mine this way so you can kind of see how I'm shaping the head. Put myself there. I have lump still. I just covered this. So lumpy. Miss this whole section. There we go. Get on there. Hold still. Um, okay. Yeah, all the other stuff goes fairly quickly. Little chicks are tiny, so they go pretty quickly too. If you need help shaping it at all, just let me know. Sometimes it can be tricky to figure out how to do it. How are we doing? Let me know when you guys, ready to go on to some of the features, or if you are, ready and you want to just start your, little baby chick. You can have at the little styrofoam ball. Very felt. Yeah, the chicks are, go pretty quickly, but they're just tiny, so it's kind of hard to get in there. I would probably just use a single needle. Or 3-needle one. So if you want to move on, do that, or you want to just take a break from the hen and just start on the chicks a little. They go. Oh, on the hen, yeah. Another option, for that, if you are doing something that's very small, right, like the chick, and you kind of just don't want to wrap it all up, you could also just kind of make, just like how we did the little disc for the top of the head, you could also kind of just start with felting that separately, like a little, making like a little pancake kind of. And then, once it's kind of dense, then using that and attaching that. So it's kind of like a thin layer of felt. So you kind of have it felted a little bit and you're not having to puncture the styrofoam so much. Perfect yellow. Has anyone ever played Candy Crush? Like the mobile game?
Are you addicted to it?
Yeah,
My brother-in-law used to do that, my sister-in-law. Gosh, but when he retired, he started doing that.
Oh. Oh, yeah. I was gonna warn you guys. I was like, don't do it, because
Yeah, he got, he
so
was like,
addicting.
oh my gosh, this stuff. One more level.
I know, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I did stay up until like 3 in the morning.
Oh, dear.
I was like, Candy Crush.
I know.
And there's little like competitions and I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. This is bad. Okay, so yeah, this is just another way so that if you don't want to press into the ball so much, making like a little pre-felted like patch, right? So, and you could have done this for the hen too, but then you'd be making a million patches. But something small like the chick, you can just kind of make a little this pancake and then just kind of use that, and don't over felt it, right? So it's not so firm. You can kind of wrap it around and then kind of attach it that way. And then, the same thing for the other side. Although this kind of looks like a little girl's head. Right here. Don't want that last part. All right. First one.
You got those 3-prong ones or 2-prong?
I actually passed them around, so I have a single one here.
Let's go here.
Yeah, those are actually kind of harder to find, so. I only have a couple of those.
Yeah, some of that stuff you have to just order it online.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, they usually have these in stock, but at Hobby Lobby, but I find that the other ones are a little bit more versatile because you can just kind of use all the needles, take them out. And then, the 3-prong one really is, you can just hold 3 needles in your hand as you're doing it, so. Kind of a luxury item, I guess.
Easier to hold than trying to hold a random
Yeah,
needle. Like I do too sometimes. but Trying to hold 3, but you can't take like a rubber band and put around
yeah.
stuff like that.
And then, it's kind of nice just for convenience.
Right.
Okay, that much. So we were looking up the, dates and locations for the next eclipse. And I guess the next, like, decent one that's gonna be kind of in the US is not until 2045. Yeah, I think there's maybe one sooner, but it's in Alaska, a little sooner. That one, I think the 45 one is gonna be probably oh no, there's gonna be one in Alaska, one in, the northern states. What's north? Montana, yeah, way up there. Idaho, like parts of them, just like barely, right? Barely in the US. And then there's gonna be a really big one, I think the 45 one or 49 is gonna be going all the way from California to Florida. So that one should be like epic. And
That
I'll
was a
see it
little
when I'm
iffy
home.
for some of us.
Yeah, that's true. Quite a long while, although.
Probably won't be here on that one.
You go and tell us what you thought of it.
Well, I'll.
I didn't think about that.
We'll be watching. There we go.
Oh, you guys have another 20 years in you? 20,
On
30
the
years?
news the other day, they were up in an airplane
Uh-huh.
watching it, and they said you could actually see the shadow going
Yeah.
across the land, and he was just so excited. That would be cool.
I know. I thought about going up somewhere like a hot air balloon or something, but it's so expensive too. They just milk this event like crazy. So,
I bet hotels were expensive too.
oh yeah, well, I think we got like some kind of points for travel lots. Wasn't too bad, but they definitely were all sold out in the area. That's for sure. So yeah, I kind of do. So I told them to book it way in advance. Yeah, I was gonna go to Austin actually to see it, but because my sister's in Austin, but we ended up just
Well, you're better off. Austin had a lot of
cloud cover.
cloud cover
Yeah.
too. I watched it on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what my sister said, because she, went out with her work and saw it, although I don't know if she was on the side of Austin that was in totality, because it's like right down the middle, it kind of cut through Austin.
My nephew, they went to his sister, his wife's sister, go to Canada.
Oh, okay.
Watched it up there.
Yeah. Oh, must be beautiful in Canada. Canada's so beautiful in general. You go back.
They went up there for the turn watch.
Mhm. Okay. Chick, I don't think I'm gonna make both chickens, but, or both baby chicks. Maybe just one. Finish this one later.
Tell you that little ditty one punching in it, it makes it mushy.
What?
The little chick one that punching in this one makes it mushy.
Yeah.
To punch it a lot, so it's making the little one mushy.
Oh, well, that's why I was saying kind of make
Yeah.
it like a
Yes,
discount.
that's what I'm saying.
I think that's probably the best bet. I mean, for this, I actually do have, the ball, like felt balls, and they were like a little bit bigger than this one, and so
Yeah.
proportionally to the chicken, it was too big.
Yeah.
So I had to find these little tiny styrofoam balls instead. So. But they do sell tiny little felt balls too. So. Let's start. That's chicken. There. Even if you didn't finish the whole thing, you would still look like you had a chicken and a chicken. And then, of course, you know, you don't have to smooth it all out right now. Like if you want to just take it home and kind of like finesse some of the edges and trim some of the loose pieces or whatever, that's fine. Or add the wings or something later. Let me know when you guys are ready to do some of the features. Face. We have about 15 minutes left. Well, you know, within the hour and a half kind of limit, I try to set it to, but we'll do some, but if you're not done with something, that's fine. Just keep going at your own pace. Watch. Yeah, some of the parts need a little instruction because they're tricky, so I'll go over that right now. Okay. So I kind of like to start with the red for this part. I'll get all my little pieces. Go around. Okay, so the red, you just want to split it up into, you know, two sections. One for the bottom, like of the chin, whatever that is called, I don't know. And the red for the top. No idea what these are called. So maybe one a little bigger, right, for the top part than the bottom one. So this is about halfway. So I'm just gonna kind of take this bottom piece and just make it a little smaller. And then for this, you kind of want to start thinking about, you know, where the face is going to go. And so if you were to put it on a table, right, you kind of want the eyes to be looking up a little bit, up and kind of out, because usually people see down kind of at an angle at it, at a table or something. And so I kind of like the eyes to be just kind of at an angle outwards. So you kind of just get an idea of what to put that. And then I'm going to start with the little head piece. And for this one, I do like to kind of fold it a lot. Just kind of fold it in half. Twist it a little, fold it in half again. And it's going to be just like a little mush. So that's what's going to be on the top right there. So once I kind of have it just pinched in my hand, then kind of the same thing I was doing before. I kind of like to go into it a little bit sideways because it's going to be a flatter piece, right? So if we kind of just go into it sideways, it helps to kind of flatten it out a little bit before we even start felting it. So I'm kind of just dragging the needles across, and you can do this with the simple needle too. And also, I'll do the extra single one if I need it. So this is just one needle. So I'm kind of just dragging it across and kind of like going in at an angle. And that kind of gives us this flat, kind of round shape already. Okay, so it kind of does something like that. And then this little extra, that's fine. It's just, I was holding it on right there. Okay. Flipping it over again. Okay, and then same thing, kind of just holding it down. And we don't really want to worry about shaping it, that little like bump yet. We can always do that after. Might be easier when it's on the actual head of the chicken. So I'm just kind of flattening it. So instead of the fibers going down into the other side, they're kind of going like, kind of breathe into themselves a little bit. So just dragging the needle across. Not even really poking into the mat, into the bottom. Starting to flatten out a little bit on this side, right? So again, just kind of keep flipping it as needed.
Go closer.
I always, well, not always, but sometimes when I'm looking at my hands on the screen and they're all covered in paint and, you know, I always think, oh, I should go paint my nails or go get them done or something, and then I never do. Alright, so, you know, it's getting, should be getting a little bit thinner or flatter, I should say. Kind of like a little oval that you're starting to form. The white in there. And this is kind of dragging the needle across and pressing it in. Same thing we'll do for the bottom piece, the little, I have no idea what it's called, the goatee, whatever you want to call it on the bottom.
Waddle. Is it a waddle?
A waddle? Okay.
It is on a turkey, isn't it?
I don't waddle on chickens too, I don't know.
All right, so that's gonna be my tail side. So this,
Possibly how the cone and the bottom, how the bottom, how the bottom.
so you can put it on here while it's still a little bit like loose. It doesn't have to be perfectly formed, because as you're felting it into the head, you can start to kind of shape it. And so here it's just like a little nub. It's not really, it doesn't really have a bump in it. So I'll just try to form that as I go. So I'm gonna place it kind of like, not directly on the top of the head, right? Because I kind of want the eyes to be looking up, like tilting his head up a little. So I'm just gonna scooch it back just a little bit. So it's just back, and of course you want to line it up so it's in the middle, lined up to the tail. You might even want to like set it down on the table to see like how it'll balance, so that, you know, you can always adjust it, but yeah. Yours is rolling one way already, you might want to go with it. So that's where mine is gonna go, and with a single needle tool, and go along all the edges and just try to tuck it directly into that. Kind of tacked on there, a little bit loose still. But I'm gonna give it a little indent in here, so it'll just kind of flatten a little bit right in the middle. Looks like a little mohawk. All right. Okay, that's the top of mine. I think I made it a little off center, but I'll just go with it. All right, and then same thing for the bottom. Little fluffy. And where's this little? Okay, so somewhere right here. Then it'll be the top. Very likely. Feeling a little loose on mine, so I'm just gonna flatten it out a little. I just realized it has a little hole on the top of the head, so fill that in a little later. All right. We have a case. All the other stuff is just like, little tiny details. If you, I would say at least get the, these two parts on and the beak on before you put the eyes in, right? Beak, tiny little piece, save a tiny little piece for the, beaks of the chicks, so you really don't need very much at all for the tiny little beaks, so a little strip like that is fine. And if you need some more orange, there's probably some in the other bags, so you can make that orange, or you can make the yellow the same color as the little chicks, the beak of the chicken. Flatten this out first. The beak, you definitely want to flatten it out on the mat or on your styrofoam before you put it on there, or else it's going to be very hard to shape. And the beak, it doesn't have to be totally pointed. It can be kind of roundish too. Any kind of shape that would fit the shape of your pen. Just gonna try to round this out a little. Almost like a little oval, flat oval. That's gonna go right there, right on top of the, whatever that was called. A little small, if you can add some more orange.
I've had trouble with mine too.
Yeah, that one's a little tricky just because you kind of have to keep the red in a certain spot, kind of right underneath it. So one thing that might help is when I went into the top of this, I kind of pulled out some of the fibers and I just kind of spread them downwards. So that way it just kind of like tapers it down a little bit and it gives you a little bit more room to kind of spread those out. So it kind of like just a little bit goes out slightly. That might help. Yeah, my peak is looking a little flat, so I'm just gonna add some more orange. All right, just kind of tack that on lightly. I'm just gonna poke my eyes in. Again, you guys do not have to be on this step yet at all. I just kind of want to make sure I show everything before we go too long. So I'm just gonna show, even for the sake of the video too. I'm gonna just poke my eyes in to one eye. So, where are my eyes? And then, you know, later if you want to go in with a little bit of blue. Where are they? Oh, I put them over there.
Good, Robin.
I know,
Oh, here, you've got eyes here too.
oh, okay. Yeah, so these little metal ones are kind of nice because they are a little bit thinner. So I would, you know, you might even be able to like pop in the eye directly, but usually since you felted it, it's kind of dense. So I would just use a needle, use an awl or use something very pointy, maybe like a thick needle or something to pop it in. And then kind of like the more wide and closer to the beak and wide set, place them, the more they'll kind of look like more childlike. So, but you know, the placement of the eye is your preference. So there's one, and I'm just gonna try to match the other one. Kind of low. I kind of like it low to the beak. You can see on the example, they kind of have like these bigger eyes, which I don't have that size. That looks really big. So I kind of like to match it kind of low to the beak.
Yeah, you see all.
Yeah, and there's only a couple alls, so you just gotta kind of pass them around a little bit. So kind of hold it where you made the hole, just so you remember where to stick the eye. Okay, that one wants to pop out. Okay, so later, you know, if you take it home, you could just get some white glue or something and just like, you know, stick the eyes on. If you want to make the eyes bigger or different, you know, shape, you could also just make a little ball of felt, whatever color, you know, whatever shape or size you want. I've even seen where they make these little cartoon eyes with like a white and a black center, so that looks kind of cute too. But these are just little tiny little chick eyes. And they sell lots of different sizes of these too. So right now I just have, this is the largest size, the one here. The plastic bead I think is a little bit bigger. So if there's a bag that has a different size eye, you can look around and see if there's the other one you want.
Did you get these at Hobby Lobby as well?
No, they don't sell these eyes or the plastic ones at Hobby Lobby. They sell doll eyes, but not the size. And so, you have to order them online. And this one specifically says they're glass eyes. So they do look a little bit nicer. They're very round.
What site did you find?
I just went on Amazon.
Oh,
Typed
okay.
in, you know, needle felting eyes.
Oh, okay.
And there's some that are plasticky and there's some, and you know, the plastic ones aren't fine. I've used them before. They do look nice, but they're a little bit, thicker on the bottom. So it's kind of harder to like, kind of drive it into the felt. And then these glass ones kind of look a little bit glossier, but I think the plastic ones are cheaper and they have a range of sizes. So I think this set of these eyes of 3 boxes of 100 for something like $7 or $8. So, you know, just depends on how you want it. Of course, you don't have to buy the eyes. You could just do it out of felt. Okay. Yeah, so for the wing on this one, it really doesn't have much of a wing. You could just kind of give it a little bit of an indent here, and so all you would need to do is just kind of continue felting in like a little indent until it makes the wing shape in here. So I'm not gonna do that on here just because I don't really want it on this one. But you could just kind of form the shape, or you can again make the wings separate. Okay. For the baby chick, same thing. I'm gonna, I would make a tiny little beak and then put the eyes on there too. So this one open. I really should label these top and bottom. It's hard, so. All right, I'm just gonna find a spot for the face. Didn't really pick, so. Press those in. Yeah, these are just pressing by themselves very thin. That's kind of where the eyes would go on a chick. And again, just tiny little beak, tiny little wings, just like a little mini version. And let me just show you guys just for the cheek, how much or how little I use. If you do want to add the little pink cheeks, this color is actually perfect for it, and it's very hard to find, but find a good blush color that I like to use repeatedly. So it's kind of like a hot pink, but you can barely see it. See, it's like you can barely even see that I have anything in my hand. And then you just very lightly, it's very easy to make this like too thick. So just start with the smallest amount of that pink. And then gradually build it up if you need to. So when it does go in, it kind of condenses down. You see how it kind of like, because as you're felting it, it thickens it up, right? So just add very, very little to start off with. And then just start from the center, and you kind of want to pull those fibers out lightly to make that little blush look super light. So just barely make it look like anything on there. Okay, and then if you need to add a tiny bit more, just kind of add from there, but it's like, I would say there's like 10 little fibers in there. The amount that I got first. And it's very easy to like make it an awkward shape. So just kind of take the little fibers and pull them outwards. It just takes some finicking with it. Sometimes I put way too much and then I have to pluck it all off and start again. So it's just very, very little. And then you just kind of add a little bit more because you don't really want it to look like a big shape on there. You kind of just want it to give it a little hint of color. So I'm just going to add a little bit more just in the middle though. So barely see it. Kind of twist them around a little. And it's just kind of tricky because you have to keep the edges kind of soft, right? And then if you have just the right amount, right, and it's all good, remember that you can always like just trim off the excess, cut them with those little scissors so that you don't have to cut down all the little fibers that you pulled out. Just a little bit of blush. I kind of find that a pink that isn't too cool tone, so like purplish, works better for blush. So that's why I'm saying this color is a little hard to find because it kind of has a warmer tone, kind of like her sweater right here. It's kind of like a corally, warmer tone pink. So just a little bit of blush. That might be a lot, but you can see it at least. Okay. And then the rest of the chick, we would just add a little beak. I should have brought my sample. A little beak, and I just put a tiny bit of blush. And the samples in the the paper, it really doesn't have much of a wings or anything at all, right? So it's up to you if you want to add like little wings or even little feet. I've seen different variations. So I'll probably just add a little bit of blush on this chick Might want to roll up the fibers too for this one because it's so little. Rolling it up there, I can kind of just put a little dot down there. And then I'm out of orange, so I'm not gonna make it speak. So just the tiniest amount, it's gonna give it a little bit of blush. And that's pretty much it. That's your chick. Usually if you guys, need to contact me or have any questions or whatever it might be, usually I'm on Facebook. I mean, I don't really go on Facebook that much, but I mean, it's probably the easiest way to contact me to Facebook. I usually comment here and there on, oh, actually, that reminds me, I need to take pictures. I'll comment here and there on the Kingsport Senior Center, feed, on their page. So every once in a while, I'll go on there and like make some comments. So I'm sure you'll find me on there, through their page, or just you can email me. I don't know if you guys want any contact information or you have any ideas or anything you want to share. I have some business cards actually. I can probably just move some if you want one. Okay, so there's the little baby chick minus the beak. And I think I'm going to turn this off now. It's pretty much done here.
Look, got run.
Okay.